Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and biking season's just around the corner. You can tell by the weather, and that means I need to clean off an awful lot of neglect from last year, and that also means I'm going to be using my torque wrench quite a bit. If you've got any quality bike or e-bike, you've probably got required torque settings, especially if you've got full suspension, any kind of frame linkages, bushings, things like that. Aluminum, titanium, carbon fiber all require specific torque values. You don't just crunch it down like we used to. And that's where the torque wrench comes in, especially a nice little one like this. But the problem is this guy here, this is the AngleTech ATEC 1FS 300 or 15 to 300 inch-pound snap-on torque wrench. Costs off the truck like $725, which is just mind-boggling for something like this, because you can get a great big one, a big digital torque wrench for industrial use for probably about the same price. Snap-ons, of course, will run you a little more, and it does come in green. I just unfortunately couldn't get it in green when I got this. But that's a pretty expensive wrench, and it's not one you want to let other people use very often, unless they know what they're doing, and you certainly don't want them just setting it down on the hard cement or, goodness, treating it poorly, treating it like a regular ratchet or something like that. So that's the problem with expensive stuff. Plus, do you want to carry it around in your car or your truck? That's where this comes in. This is the Lexivon bicycle kit with a torque wrench, a click-style torque wrench, a handful of bits here in a nice solid padded case. Now this does come with a calibration certificate, you can see here with the percentages that they're working with, and also the calibration date, just last year. And the serial number, which of course matches the serial number on the wrench. So we're going to take a closer look at this. This set is the mini 1/4 inch click drive torque wrench set for the bicycle, which is why it has the bike parts. Look at those. We've got these different 1/4 inch, actually these are all 1/4 inch sockets. And we've got in the hexes 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10, although I can't imagine a lot of 10 torquing with the small wrench, but sure it happens. And then we've got some torques here. This is the T10, 20, 25, which is going to be your workhorse, especially in mountain biking, and T30, as well as a bit adapter and a small extension. Again, if this case would be 60 bucks alone if it was a snap-on. But let's take a closer look at this guy. There's a couple of pieces to it I want to point out, a couple of things. One is the high vis. It's easy to see exactly what's going on both the settings here and where you're setting it on the shaft. Anyone who've used like snap-ons, you almost need a magnifying glass to make sure stuff's lined up, holding it in the light right. Sure, it'll probably last forever on the snap-on, but it's so hard to read. Another thing is this collar here, the sliding locking collar, tells you to lock and unlock it. So if I pull it down, I can just spin this freely. Now what's nice about that is it's very quick to set. You don't have to do that little dance that most of us snap-on users of pulling it down and holding it while you're turning things. In this case, you just have to click it up. So it's convenience in one way or the other. You get to decide. I don't mind. I like that, actually. Also, you'll notice it says store at, and then it gives you the lowest value. See, 17.7 inch-pounds or 2 newton meters. And so that is what they think. I've heard some people say, hey, just store it in the middle, or I've never had a problem, or it doesn't matter. I have always unwound mine just religiously, and so I like that validation. And then, of course, there are the others that say, just get a split beam. Split beam. Nobody cares when you do where you leave that. I say, go get a $725 digital snap-on, and then you don't have to worry either. Anyway, let's go ahead and compare this to the snap-on. The way we're going to do that is just choose this thing. Let's see, we'll just go to 10. I'll crank it up here to 10. And then we will connect it directly to the snap-on and pull out the H6 and the adapter here. It's close enough. Usually I get these wedged in and I have to pop them loose. But you've also got a 72-tooth locking head on this, which is nice. And then I will put this onto the snap-on here. Snap those two together. So now I can run the snap-on. What I'll do, turn it on here. And I've just got it so it's going to show me what the torque is. Zeroing there. And I am going to push down So you can see the torque. What I'm going to do is I push down. I have to keep this because of the tech angle. I have to keep it lined up. Is I'm going to do it 3 times and we'll see what the settings are. So here we go. Start at about 45-degree angle and push down. So we're at 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10.81 on that test. Don't let me forget to tell you about those TEKTONs there. Let's try it again. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9. What do we get? 10.77. So we're still less than 1 crazy Newton meter. And the third attempt, look at that, 11.05. And I had a bend in that. Let me do that one again because I bent it at the last second. I didn't mean to. See, I almost did it again. Okay. There we go, 10.97, still up close to 11. So that's that setting. What I'm going to do here, pop it free. Let's go up again. I'll run this up. How about, let's do 16. That sounds like a good number to explore. So there is 16. Connect this up again. Get that lined up. There we are. Okay, let's go to 16. $17.35. Do it again. Oh, I can't see, sorry. Start over. Whoops. 17.96. 18.67. That last one I bent. Let me do that again. In fact, let me try it. Yeah, go this way and a little lower. Let's do it right here. So we're looking for 16. 18 again. So 2 off there. Still pretty close for most things. And if you watch people use a torque wrench, if you think about that, what are they going to do? They are going to crunch it all the way down. It's going to click and they're going to go zipping on by the click. And then when they do that, they've added quite a bit to it. I have to do that to pop those loose. I probably should get a setup that allows me to connect these things. But anyway, so what I've got is a reasonably accurate small one. I'm hoping this one's still accurate here. And if we look at the calibration percentages for mins and maxes, they look like they set it for 15.6 and they got up to 16.2. That's less than 1. That one's, you know, about half right there. Jumps a little bit at the higher end. You can see there, what I'm after is consistency. If I want to calibrate this to this one, well, let's do that. What I can do is actually knock it off. If this is, if I've got 16 and it's actually reading 18, what if I cut it down to 15? There's 14. Let's see, 18 would be 2, so 14 would be good. So there's 14. So if it's at 14, let's see what we get. I'm just curious now. Because it's that, there's accuracy and there's precision. And I'd rather have precision because then I can make up for the accuracy here. So I'm going after, what do I have? 16. So there it is. So I could recalibrate this if I wanted. Let's try it again. 15.8. In fact, this I could get even closer, I bet. 15.9. So it's almost 16. I was after 16, so I just backed it off 2, and there I am. And it's holding that at the moment. So that's another way I could deal with the setting. But for the price, $54 for the set. And this is way, well, it's probably 1,000 times more accurate than winging it. Or doing it how we used to, where you'd kind of snug it up, call it good when it sort of feels like that. I think it is good to be able to know about how much torque you put on something, so playing around like this can be helpful. If I put this up to 20, you know, that's a lot. Sometimes it scares you and you're thinking, wait, did I mix up my numbers or something? Because you just feel like the fastener's going to bust. But maybe that's what it's set for. And then, of course, do you use grease? Do you use anti-seize? Does any of that make a difference? But I also wanted to point this out. And TEKTON right now, you can buy different bit sets. This is their bicycle bit set. This one here this is what it looks like, what it comes in. This is the 1/4-inch bike bit set with rail 9-piece. You can see what we've got. We have a number 2 Phillips, a little slotted here. I think it's at 3/16, yeah. And then T25, which is the workhorse. That's mostly what you need. And then a 2, 2.5 for mostly brakes there. 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the classics. Again, you know, you could go up to 8 and 10. 8 is usually crank arms, maybe back of pedals. 10. Anyway, these are $5 on Amazon for a bit set like this. So if you want a dedicated bike bit set, which is exactly why I got this, because then this goes with a kit like this, and in a smaller handle, that's what it's for. But anyway, I thought I'd point out this one. If you are curious about the inexpensive torque wrenches, there you go. This is what one looks like and how it performs. And if you don't have anything and you want to start torquing on, you know, the small arms of your garage, then something like this. Just know about where it is. If you can get somebody who's got maybe a more accurate one, just to see if you need to make an adjustment. So I don't need to make an adjustment down low. I could see maybe it being off by 1 or 2 when I'm in the mid-range. You know, this only goes to 26, so 13 might be off by 1, 16 might be off by 2, but still pretty close. And honestly, it has a lot to do with how well you're operating the machine. A lot of people use it like a ratchet till it clicks. They've probably gone way over. That's pretty common on lug nuts. People think, oh, I torqued it down to, you know, 83. You know, no, you didn't. You torqued it to about 95, maybe 100, because you didn't stop. You pushed right through the click. You weren't able to it. So there's a bit of finesse and understanding how mechanically it works. But anyway, so there it is. Thought I'd show you that. If you're interested in a set like this, that's an option. I'll put a link for both of these. This is available on Amazon, and let you go from there. Let me know your thoughts. And with that, Doc out.